Hello again, everyone. This is Devin Murray with another one of my master classes, and this one is on how to ensure that your school is on the map. So before we get going too far, just to kind of give you an idea of where things are and why it even matters to be on the map, why is your private parochial school, why it's important to have it on the map. First thing, realize that 71% of all Americans right now use the internet, and that number is rapidly growing, especially in the demographics that most of us are talking about and looking to work with. 91% of all internet users use a search engine to find information. So people that are on the internet, they're going out, they're doing searches, they're trying to find information. I also find that over 50% of all purchases are preceded by an internet search. People in this day and age, they research products, especially anything that has any kind of a price to it, that's expensive or has a high cost to them. They're going to go and they're going to research, and where they research is they research online. So this means when they're looking at a school options, when they're looking for options, they're going to go and look online and look at what's on the map and citations and review sites. They're going to look at all of those to begin with. And only after they do that are they then going to start making a decision as to what product, what school to go with. You'll also find that 30% of all searches contain a query for a city, state, or zip. And that doesn't count all the searches for people that are just looking for things that are given to be local, such as a plumber. When someone searches for a plumber, Google knows that you are looking for a plumber in your town. You're not in Denver looking for a plumber in Miami. And they pretty much know that. So that 30% is a very highly misleading number, because I would imagine it's probably over 50 or 60% of searches are local in nature. People looking for something nearby, whether it be a restaurant, whether it be a plumber, whether it be a school. And right now that number is counting for 2.6 billion local searches in the U.S. every month. So why does it matter that you be found locally? Because people are searching for you and your schools online. And let's just kind of face it, the phone book is dead. Even though I still use it sometimes, people just don't go to the phone book anymore. They go online and they search. And if your school is not found easily in those searches, then you're just going to be passed by, and people are going to assume that you don't exist, because they're not going to go look in the phone book. They're not going to go look for your ads in the paper. They're going to go look online, and if you're not there, you don't exist, and they'll go to the next school, even if that school is not going to solve their problems nearly as well as you do. To kind of give you a little bit of an idea as to how local search works, just so that you can understand the big picture of everything. When someone types in a search that Google thinks is a local term, right? So when they're typing in plumber, private school, any of those things, Google pretty much assumes you're looking for a local kind of search. So the first thing it does is it tries to determine where the searcher is physically located. Because obviously to provide those local results, it needs to figure out where the heck they are. So the first thing it does is it does a navigational fix, trying to figure out from a cell phone, a tablet, where that device is located. So if they're on one of those devices and it has location services enabled, Google will go ahead and use those. If it doesn't, then it begins to use the computer IP address or the address of the Internet Service Provider, the ISP. And this can be off sometimes or not quite as close, especially when you're using the ISP if you don't have location services turned on a computer. I also say this too because it can have an effect if you're at your school looking to see how well you rank on the map, versus if you are 30 miles away at home and doing that search, you will actually find that the results will change. So sometimes you actually need to move where your computer is located in order to find that information. So the second step it does is it looks for businesses that match the nearby search keywords. So it's going to look for, so if someone is typing in private school Denver, Colorado, or private school, and they are in Denver, Colorado. It's going to start going through all of its databases. Its database of local businesses that Google has found, either because you've told them that you exist or they found them on their own, and start trying to figure out which ones are private schools. Which ones will match that query, that request that the searcher has put in. It then runs all the nearby businesses that match those keywords through its search algorithm. Again, the algorithms we know are 200 plus variables. We know some of them. We've got some of them figured out. We've backwards engineered some of them. Some of them we have not been able to backwards engineer. So Google runs them through there, and then it returns both a local search result, an organic search result, and paid AdWords results. So when you look at a local search results page returned to you, you will find that it has 3 different distinct sections with 3 different distinct results. And what we're really talking about here, most of all, is that local search results. And as I say, we've kind of been able to backwards engineer the results and what goes into that algorithm for local search. And we found that there's 4 major things that affect your local search ranking. And those are claiming your place, your places, or your Google Plus, I should say. And that means claiming it and also making sure that it is completeness, so as much as can be filled out is filled out, and that it is accuracy, the accuracy of the information that you are providing to Google and to all of the other sources on the web. The number 2 thing is the citations, which is a mention in another local directory. Google is looking for people that are a true business, and a true business is not just going to be in one directory. They're going to be found by all the other directories and be in other directories. So they're looking to see that is, because the more that you're in, the bigger of a business or bigger of a school that you must be. The third thing that they're looking for is reviews, because reviews show what a business is doing. If no one's reviewing your business or your school, then Google has to ask the question, is anyone even going to that school or to that business? Because even if the business is the most miserable place in the world and it's a restaurant that's essentially killing people with food poisoning, they're still going to get reviews even if they're negative reviews. So Google uses that as a part of its algorithm. It goes, how many reviews is this school getting, and how often are they getting? How consistently are they getting them? And finally, it looks at the page rank for your website. Again, remember that PageRank is a voting machine, and the more powerful, the higher that your PageRank is, the better you're going to also do in local search. They're kind of intertwined because Google wants to provide the best results that people find useful. Now, when we look at how do we claim our page, how do we claim that Google Plus page, and it is really pretty darn simple. If you haven't claimed it yet, or if you're not sure if you've claimed it, or if you're not sure if someone else in your company has claimed it, or if you're not even sure that you have one, which can happen, although Google is pretty good about finding all the websites anymore, just go to it's google.com/business. And it takes you to a page that looks like this. Now, I'm sure as soon as I record this video, they're going to change this page. Almost guaranteed they do it every time to me. So the page will look something like this, and somewhere on that page, there's going to be a Start Now button or Begin button or something like that. Go ahead and find that, and when you go ahead and click on it, right now what it's doing is it takes you to a page that looks like this, which has just a blank business information page next to it, and you can start adding your business. It says add your business, but don't worry if you already have one. It's going to actually help you figure that out in just a second. So when you start typing the information in, it actually starts autofilling or suggesting the schools that it already knows, like these right here. You know, I'm doing an ACE Academy, and there's all these other ACE Academies that it says, is this your school? So if your school has already been found by Google, it should show up in this list. And if not, don't worry about it. Just complete all the form, and generally the phone number is the other way that it kind of connects listings that it might already have in its database compared to the listings that you have. You also want to make sure that you're using your full name of your school as it would appear on a legal document. really try and avoid abbreviations and partial names. I'll get into that in just a little bit, but that can create all sorts of havoc, and that's how you can end up with 3 different listings for one school, and then it means you're kind of spreading your page weight, your authority between all 3 of those listings, so none of them do well. Versus if you put 100% into one listing, that one will do much better. So you just want to make sure that you're using the proper name. As I said, Google is looking to see that your information is consistent, and the ones that really matter to it are it's NAP, name, address, and phone number. The name is a big one, so make sure that you avoid abbreviations, or that your abbreviations are consistent. Abbreviations are considered to be an inconsistency with the name. So that's things such as high school and HS are considered different in Google's eyes. So that is an incongruency or an inconsistency that will make your page not rank as well, or will give you multiple pages out there. You also want to make sure that your address is consistent. Make sure you use the same addresses on your website as is correct. And you'll find with this that Google again says that street spelled out, ST period, and ST, abbreviations for street are all considered to be different addresses. And if you could see how the HTML and the database languages are written, you would understand that a little bit better. But just understand that when they store those look very, very different to a computer. So you want to make sure that your address is always correct. You also want to make sure that your phone number is correct. Use a very consistent phone number. You also need to be consistent with all of the citations and on your website. So what you list as your address on your website, you also need to list as your address on your Google Plus page. You also need to make sure that that's what's on your citations and greatschools.org and Yelp and Google Plus. Make sure that all that phone number is the same across all the web, because those are how Google figures out that this school with this name and this phone number are the same entity. Therefore, we should join them and consider them joined by the program. All right. So once you enter your information on the map, such as your name, which I got there, your address, and the city, it's going to go ahead and zoom in. The map, which was the U.S., has now zoomed in to my local area to show kind of where they believe my school would be located, where that pin should be. And then at the bottom there's the category. And right now you can choose one category. You only want to choose one. That's all that you can do. And you want to choose the one that I always say is the largest part of your business. What is the one that you want to be known for? Private school obviously being my favorite, but it can be high school, middle school, elementary school, parochial school, religious school, or child care, depending on what you do. What is this business entity, this school, going to be known for? Now, you could very well have 2 different schools. I could have ACE Academy Child Care and ACE Elementary School, or ACE Academy School. Excuse me about that. I could easily have those 2 as 2 different businesses under different entities with different phone numbers, slightly different address. One could be Suite A, one could be Suite B, and different names. But if not, then just pick the one that is the best for you. And then once you hit the, I believe it's the submit or the continue button down there at the bottom, again, they're going to change that every time. It just brings you to this page that says, we want to confirm your business, and you need to check off that little check mark there that says, I am authorized to manage this business and agree to the terms of services. They basically just want to make sure that you are agreeing that you have the authority to make changes to the website. And then hit continue, and it's then going to take you to verify your business. Unless you've previously verified it, they want to make sure that whoever is getting control over that Google Plus page, that business listing, actually has authority. Back when they didn't do this a whole lot or very well, we could actually take control of competitors' pages and essentially delete them So obviously they don't want to have that happen anymore, and you especially don't want that to happen to you. There are two ways that they check to verify your identity that you actually have control. And it's basically by running something through some of the information that you've provided previously that is associated with your school. The first and the default is always by mail. This takes about a week. I know it says 4 to 6 weeks when you fill it out. In reality, it takes about a week. The one warning I will give to you about this is make sure that you watch the mail for this card to come, because it really looks like junk mail from Google. It's not. It doesn't really stick out really well. My point there being, whoever you have getting the mail, make sure you let them know that you're expecting this letter from Google and that it's not junk mail, and that they don't throw it out. Because if they throw it out, you then have to start the whole process over again, and after several different times, actually Google will just shut you down. So you want to make sure that you're not doing that. Again, just make sure whoever's grabbing the mail knows that you're looking for this. The other way, which you will every so often be allowed to verify by, is by phone. And this is generally if they've already recognized your phone number came from another trusted citation source out there, another trusted directory. They will sometimes allow you to call in, and all that they're going to do with both of these is they're just giving you I believe it's a 6-digit code right now, and you just have to enter that code into the website, which it gives you a little blank. It's pretty easy to figure out. One thing about the phone is when you hit verify by phone, they will generally call you within seconds. So you want to make sure, again, that whoever's answering the phones, and they pretty much call and they hand you the phone and they hand you the code. So you want to know whoever's answering the phone writes down that code and gets it to you. That code also expires within about 5 minutes. So you want to make sure very much that you get that code and that you get it into the website properly. I always suggest doing this after hours. If you're going to do the phone option, do it after hours when it's just you at the phone banks with the Google Plus page opened up and ready to go. So when they call, you answer the phone, you get the code, you enter the code, verify the page, and then you can go home for the night. Once you do that, once you once you verify, or I actually hit the verify later, I went with that just because this is an example that I'm doing for everyone. I don't want to use any of my clients. They would probably get mad at me if I actually showed you an actual clients page. So I just decided to create one for you. And because of that, I went ahead and said verify later, and I'm taken to my Google Plus page. Now it does have some warnings there that nothing will be published or updated until after I verify it. And there's a couple limitations of things that I'm not quite allowed to see yet. Once we're inside here, now we can go ahead and update some more of our information and add some extra stuff that was not previously provided. The first thing you want to do is click over to the Info tab. So we were just on the Home tab. Want to click over to the Info tab, and that then opens up this section. The first thing you want to look at is that private school. That was the default category that I picked right off the bat. If you hit the little pencil next to it, it'll open it up so that you can make some changes. And here you can add multiple secondary categories. And you can really add as many as you want. They were at 7. There was a 7 limit once. It's up now to, I believe, 10 to 15. Who knows? They'll probably pull back to 5 as soon as I record this. Put in as many as you can of ones that actually fully apply to you. I always suggest you go through the list and find all the ones that you think would apply to you first, and then enter. Obviously, the primary category is your most important. Then pick out the second biggest business maker or thing you want to be known for, and put that as the secondary, additional category, and so on and so forth. So pick out what you're best for, and then kind of work your way through. There is quite the list of schools, or of options for schools like us. So just go ahead and make sure that you pick the ones that work best for you. So if we go back, then this is kind of a little bit of a better image of it. You just want to make sure your listing is as complete as possible. So just try and fill in all the blanks that you can. When we look at the hours, add your normal either office hours or school hours. I kind of leave that up to you. If your school is open significantly different hours from your office, then you might want to list the school hours. I say that especially for those of you who run programs that are also child cares. Those generally run 12 to 14 hour days, whereas the school might be a 10 to 12 hour day, and your office might be that 9 to 10 hours in the day kind of a setup. So I'll leave that up to you. Under phone numbers, you can add extra phone numbers. So you want to make sure that you add all the phone numbers you use. Add your 800 number in there. Add your fax number in there. If you're using tracking numbers to track where leads are coming from, make sure you put those tracking numbers in there, because this will again help Google when they go out and they find the different phone numbers different places. It's a way for them to verify and to realize that they're all related back to you versus being a different entity that they don't know about yet. And you also want to make sure that you add your website there, and we'll talk a little bit more about that here in a little bit. But your page ranking matters, and you want people to be able to go from your local listing over to your web page, where they can then be sold and convinced to do business with you. They're not going to do that off of the local page. They're just looking for who the businesses are there. Make it easy for them to actually get to your web page. And we can also add photos, which is, there's also a tab there. If you see at the top, there was home, info, and then photos. And you really want to ensure that you have a really good cover and profile image that help to show your USP, that unique selling proposition. Don't just have the picture of your sign out front of the campus. That doesn't necessarily sell people on why they should be going to your school. This goes back to the old saying of a picture is worth 1,000 words. So make sure that you use that image, that picture, to tell the 1,000 words as to why someone should be doing business with you versus all the other options out there, including the option of free school. You also want to add as many photos as makes sense. Don't just go picking stock photos and taking photos to throw them up there. But if the photo makes sense, make sure you put the photo up there. You also want to add photos to each section to help with your ranks. So that's the overview from the owner, the interior, the exterior. At work obviously means in class teaching, team members, who is your team, or who are the lead people, and identity, which is kind of branding stuff. So we just want to go through and make sure that you have photos for all of those sections. Most of those I think you can pretty much come up with. You can find a picture for those, and sometimes you might want to add multiple ones, especially for the team member, the exterior, especially if you have multiple buildings. And make sure they're good photos that are helping to sell your school, your campus, not just a picture because you think you need to have one. Make sure it's a good picture and take the time. This is something that it's really worth to take the time and find the right picture, or get the right picture taken, than to rush it, even though you can always change this over time. And once you've verified and claimed your page, you will have access to a lot of other information, such as insights, reviews, and you'll be able to post updates on your Google Plus page. This is all done back under that Home tab again. Now, because I have not verified it, I can't see that information yet, nor is there any information really for it, because obviously I just made this up. But what Insights will give you is it's essentially an analytics for your Google Plus, that Google business page. And it will show you the number of visits that you're getting to that page, how many people are coming to that page, what the demographics are of the people who are coming to that page, age. Sometimes you can get, depending on how many people come, you can also get sex, you can get incomes. You can also see their location. So where are people who are searching for you coming from and coming to your page. So it's not people who are searching for you, but people that are coming to your Google Plus page. Where are they coming from? What neighborhoods, what towns are they coming from? I've always find this very interesting because this is a great tool then to take when you're looking at maybe doing a direct mail flyer to a neighborhood. Right? If you're getting a lot of people who are coming and searching for you from a neighborhood, why not look and see if maybe that neighborhood has your ideal clients in it? A lot of times I've found working with clients that we have the ability to see niches that we never thought were there. There might be one or two students from a section, but no one has ever known that there was a lot of other parents interested in us there. We just weren't reaching out to them. We weren't helping explain to them how we would solve their problem. And once we do that, we can get a massive spike in enrollments. You'll also find, so one of the other things you're going to be able to do is you're going to be able to look at your reviews, and you're allowed to respond to the reviews if you want to. I will always caution everyone in not just responding to negative reviews, and a lot of times don't respond to negative reviews, but also be sure to respond to positive reviews. If you get a glowing review that says, "We love this school," make sure that you go in there and say, "Thank you very much. I'm glad that we've been able to help your child for the last 5 years. It's been our pleasure." Respond to those positive reviews almost more than the negative ones too. Encourages people to continue to leave reviews because everyone wants to be thought of specially and to be recognized. Also, once you have verified the page, you're able to leave comments or posts on your Google Plus page. Kind of consider Google Plus is essentially Google's Facebook. So treat it about the same as you would your Facebook posts. I generally just mirror whatever I do on Facebook, I do on Google Plus also for our clients, or suggest that our clients do that, because it does help the ranking. Google likes to see information, and then if someone does click over to your local business page listing, they can see that information, which can sometimes be very insightful and very helpful and very informative, and will help people want to do business with you, or at least find out more. All right, so that's the first thing. The first of the 4 that you need to do in order to be able to claim or to do best on the map with Google. The next thing you want to do is get citations. Now, this is probably the only time in life that you ever actually want to get a citation. This is not a police ticket. This is actually something that's helpful to us. And a citation is simply a listing in a local business directory. The word directory already has a defined meaning online. So when Google wanted to come up with something else, they had to come up with a new name. They came up with citation. Leave it to the World Wide Web people to come up with just new confusing names whenever they want to. So that's why it's called citations and not called a online directory. But when we're talking about those, what we're talking about places like Yahoo, Insider Pages, Chamber of Commerce, obviously everyone's favorite Yelp, greatschools.org, private school reviews, and more. This is just a partial list of them. There are actually several hundred out there. And then when we start adding the private schools, the niche websites, it becomes even more. But basically what we're looking for with the citations is just a directory of online businesses or schools or something that's online. That's just a directory. One thing to realize is that not all citations are equal, but Google gives weight to its trusted citation sources, the ones that it feels are better. And these do vary from place to place. It really just matters, in certain. Google wants to make sure that it's providing its searchers with the results that they're looking for. What this means is that happens is in certain places you'll find like a greatschools.org is very popular. In other places you'll find school review to be very popular. Really just depends on your neighborhood. And really the best way to figure out which ones you need to be in is look at the top results, the people who are doing better than you, and copy them. You can do that real quickly by just searching for their name or their website and review. And they'll pull up all the review sites and make sure that you're in all of those. Generally, you'll find you're not in one or two of them. Make sure you're in those plus all the ones that you're in, and all of a sudden now you have more citation sources than they do. Also, if you need help, give me a call. I'd be happy to sit down and talk with you and see if we can figure out some other options of how to figure out what citation sources to be in. The big thing with citations is consistency of the citation matters. So again, that NAP, that name, address, and phone number. Really want to make sure that it's the same in Yelp that it is on Google+, that it is on your website, that it is on school reviews. So as much as you possibly can, make sure that you're using the same name, same address, and same phone number, and that includes without abbreviations. Now, I know sometimes that can become a little bit of a problem, but do your best. And think about this thoroughly before setting off on a citation building program and a Google Plus and Google Maps program. Make sure you've kind of thought about what page and what you want it to look like and what name you are going to use across all of them. Third thing that we need to make sure that we have in order to do really good in local search on the maps is to make sure that we have reviews. This is really it's very important to building interest from potential families. People no longer ask for recommendations from friends and neighbors and clergy members like they used to. They now go online and crowdsource those recommendations. So you need to make sure, and one of the biggest ways they do it is they look at reviews. Is this place being rated well or poor? That's the whole business behind Yelp and TripAdvisor. Is crowdsourcing where you go for food and where you go for services. So people are used to that. They do it with schools also. So you want to make sure that you're out there and getting those reviews. You'll also find that it is a major source of ranking power within the Google Plus, Google Maps business algorithm. With their point basically being, if no one is reviewing your business or your school, is anyone even going there? As I said before, even if you are the worst restaurant on earth, people are still going to be reviewing you as bad. If you're getting no reviews, Google has to wonder, is that restaurant even open? And that's kind of the theory that Google has gone through and has tried to put into the algorithm. So you have to understand that that's what Google is expecting. So go ahead and make sure that you are helping them. So make sure that you are providing them with reviews to show that you are a, quote, real business and that people are coming to you. Now, real quick, there is a difference between reviews and testimonials. However, we can treat them for this conversation and for most of our conversations really as the same. Just real quick, a testimonial comes from the word testament. It is something that is given in appreciation, a tribute. These are often found in the books and waiting rooms or company brochures or on your website. But because this information is controlled in some way by the company, it's really not as trusted as a real review on a third-party site. Because obviously people understand that you're not going to have a bad testimonial on your website, but you're only going to have the good testimonials there. And people understand that, so they realize it's somewhat of a skewed picture when they're looking at that. But that's what the testimonials are. However, reviews is someone's experience with a company, product, or service that's typically viewed somewhere other than the company, product, or service's website. Right? So third-party sites, review sites. That's what reviews are. And these are generally trusted much better because good or bad, people believe them to be much more real and you to have less control over them. So we really just want to make sure that we're getting those reviews, which can both be reviews or testimonials in our case, as many as you can. All right, so I know I get this question all the time, and it's really not a scope of this master training, but I just wanted to put it out there because I get it all the time, which is how do you handle bad reviews? Realize first that unless it's dangerous, it's really hard to fight a bad review and to get it removed from a Google Plus or a Yelp. Because how do you prove that you are right? How do you prove that the teacher didn't hit the child? It's next to impossible to disprove this stuff, and quite frankly, Google wants to show the full picture. They know that you're going to fight every negative review if you could. So they're going to make it very challenging for you to fight those reviews because they don't want you to just arbitrarily be able to fight them, because they want to show the honest picture, the good and the bad and the ugly about a school. I always suggest this is the second thing I always say when people come to me about bad reviews, is make sure you take a good look and to make sure that you are not at fault. Most of the time that I see bad reviews, true bad reviews, not the ones from the disgruntled ex-employee or ex-parent, but true reviews, generally there's a fair amount of truth to that complaint, and you'll do better looking and saying, yes, you know what, maybe our campus wasn't as clean and well maintained as it should have been over those last couple weeks. Maybe we have a reason for it, maybe we don't. But yes, it was our fault. Let's make sure that we have a program. Let's make a fix to it. Because that's really what people want to see, is that things get improved. And that's really the best way to fight a bad review, is to go back and go, thank you very much. We were not aware of that problem, or here's how we've gone about solving that problem. We've actually doubled the amount of time that we put forth now in cleaning our school grounds compared to before you did that. Thank you very much for informing us of that. We hope you come back and take another look at our school and see how much we've improved. That's one of the best ways, is not to fight it, but to improve it and realize that you did make a mistake. There also does appear to be a preference in Google for bad reviews. So you can have 20 great reviews, and that one bad review from a year ago is still number one. There's just a preference for that honesty that Google likes to put out there. It's the do no harm. It's the providing honesty. So just realize that it's going to be there. There's really nothing you can do about it. So don't lose too much sleep over it, because everyone else has the same problem. Some other things to keep in mind is that you will always have some unhappy people. No matter how great your program is, someone's always going to be disgruntled. Someone's always going to be upset. Someone's always going to leave at least one bad review. It happens. It's also very interesting. There have been a lot of studies done, especially recently, looking at people, and they're given a stack of bad reviews, true bad reviews, and in that there might be one or two which were left by a disgruntled employee or fake bad reviews. And people can regularly, at over 90% of the time, pick out the disgruntled review, the review from the teacher who was fired, the parent who was fired for not paying her bills, the student who was fired because they dropped out. Almost every single time people can pick those out. And it's almost done at a subconscious level. There's something about the wording and the words and the way things are phrased that allow people to understand that this is a disgruntled person's review. And where people err is they actually err on the side of actually believing that bad reviews were actually from a disgruntled person. Almost never does that disgruntled person's review actually get believed by a real person looking to understand reviews. So although that disgruntled parent's review might drive you nuts, it's not having a huge effect on your enrollments. Now, I wouldn't say just leave it there. I wouldn't say not do anything about it, but understand that people can on some subconscious and conscious level understand that was a disgruntled review from someone that had a bone to pick with you, than someone who actually just had an issue with your school, an actual review that was negative. I realized too that the total number of reviews matters, and even bad reviews add to the total. This goes back to that restaurant. Even if the restaurant's open and it's serving bad food, they're still going to get negative reviews. And the algorithm for Citations, to a certain extent, is just looking for total number of reviews. They just want to see that people are going to the business, and therefore it actually is open. If they're not getting reviews, then they don't want to list it. Be very careful with responding to bad reviews. I think I talked about this a little bit before, but I have seen more often than not where responding can turn a bad situation worse. All of a sudden, one person went on a little rant, and then you respond, and now you've given them fuel, and what was a 2-paragraph rant is now a 15-page rant where they've taken every word you said in that review and used it against you. So just most of the time, it is really best to just ignore the bad reviews, or at most respond back with, here's how we solved that problem. We really, and take care of it. Or the other way that I always love to do it is just to bury bad reviews under good. So if you get one bad review that says your campus and your school is dirty and ill-maintained, go out and get 10, 15, 20 reviews to talk about how clean your campus is, how well-maintained your facilities are. That's the best way to deal with it, is just to get good reviews and bury that bad review under all the good reviews that you have. And the way you do that is you make it easy for people to make reviews. Obviously, the first thing is you have to ask. If you don't ask, people won't give you reviews. But if you ask and you make it easy for them, they will give you reviews. So provide them with the URL to make reviews, either on your website, on Google, on Yelp, on any of those websites. Make sure that you're just providing them with the URL. Be careful with Yelp, though, by the way, because you're really not allowed to lead them directly from your site to Yelp. There's actually a whole nother master training on Yelp. If you're looking for that, go ahead and pull that one up. But just make it easy by giving them a URL. Do it in your newsletter. Do it on your website. Do it in your parents' portal. Make it easy for them to understand, to get to where they need to be. Use QR codes, which are those funky little squares that you still see around, and they can be read by most people's smartphones and take people to a website. These are great. I found these are awesome when you have an event of some kind, of a parent appreciation night or student appreciation night or a sports night or your fundraising auctions. Why not set up a table with a couple of these QR codes and ask people to give you reviews? And all they do is they scan this, and if they have an Android phone or a Galaxy phone or basically anything that's not an Apple phone, they're always logged into Google. Send them to the Google page, and they can actually leave a review for your website. That's how you make it easy. Another way to do this, at those same kind of events, provide them with a computer. Why not grab 1 or 2 tablets out of the science lab or out of one of your other programs and have them there so that people can log into their accounts and leave a review while they're waiting in line to get in, or as a part of the auction that's going on. Why not make it easy for them? Provide them the tools so they don't have to think, oh yeah, when I get home, I'll leave that review. We always know what happens when they say that. It's not that they don't mean to do the review. They just get busy and swamped, therefore they never do it. So make it easy for them to do it right then. All right, so that was the third thing. The fourth thing that we need to do to rank really well on Google Places and on the maps and in local search is our page rank of our website, which basically, it comes down to the fact that our page rank matters. And again, this goes back to the page rank comes from the Google's concept of a voting machine, which is the more popular your website is, the higher it will rank. And how PageRank is determined is kind of a fluid formula. It has a lot to do with links to your website, but it has to do with a lot of other things also. But if you just look at it from the Google point of view, if your website adds value to the web, then your business probably does too. And just the opposite of that is if your website has little or no value to the web, so a very low page rank, then Google has to question how much value does your business add to people. And if it's not adding a lot of value, why should it be shown well in a local search? Versus the flip side of that is if you do add a lot of value, why should you not be up at the top of the search results? Because your business is probably adding just as much value as your website is. And this is where it's really important to have those blogs and those authority figure sites and portions of your website. This is where it really has a tremendous pull on how well you rank in local search. I know that seems kind of strange that putting an educational blog post up will help you in local search, but this is how it does it, because that post becomes value to the web, and therefore your business is considered to have a greater value. All right, so what does this mean for you that your page rank affects how well you show up in search? First thing it needs is you need to make sure that your web page is what you claim it is about on Google+. i.e., if you claim that your primary category in Google+, Google Business, is private school, you need to make sure that your website has those keywords in it. If you have high school or parochial school, you need to make sure that your website has those words and is known for those. So it would need to be pretty much all over the page. This is a key place to have those keywords in that keyword meta tag. This is a very powerful place to have it. Have it in the title tag. Have it in the description. Right? Again, they all kind of play back and forth on each other. But sometimes if you decide that you want to do a category that you don't want to use the wording of on your website, make sure you put it in that keyword meta tag. This also means when you get links from your Google, when you are linking from your Google Plus page, you want to make sure that the page you're linking to is correct. I.e., these are like when you put up a summer camp page, make sure that summer camp page, that link actually works going there. And when it no longer does work, go ahead and delete the post or forward that page to another page that makes sense. So if your summer camp page is no longer there because it's the end of summer and you're just starting off into another realm of the school year, why not send it and just have it forward to all of the program pages or extracurricular activity page. But you just want to make sure that those pages work, because Google hates it when they send people to a page that doesn't work. And basically this also just means that the good old meta tags and keywords and title tags and page content, that good old SEO, is back in fashion again. Because the better you're doing with good old SEO, the better you're going to do in ranking on local search. All right, so I hope you found this interesting. Just real quickly, in summary here, there's 4 things that affect your search, your local search ranking. And those are obviously claiming your Google Plus page, the completeness of the page, along with the accuracy of the information. So make sure that you are filling out as much of that Google Plus as you can. Make sure that you're using consistent name, address, and phone number, that NAP. All right? And make sure that you're putting those photos up there as much as you can. You want to make sure that you're getting citations from all the other available review sites so that Google knows that you're not just that one trick of a Google Plus page, but that you're everywhere. You want to make sure that you're getting reviews to let Google know that people are interested and like your business. Good or bad, but be getting reviews. Ideally, be getting good reviews. And finally, you want to make sure that the page rank for your website is the best that it can be. Work on that good old SEO stuff. Just a last little thought here on everything. It's not about beating Google at its own game, because you realize they are packed with PhDs who do nothing but try and figure out how to keep people from gaming their system. You're never going to be smarter than them. It's really just about being 1% better than everybody else. There's no hard and fast numbers as to how much you need. You just need to do a little bit of research and have slightly more than everybody else. There is no magic number for if you have 15 citations, you're going to be ranked number 2 or number 1. And if you have 22 reviews, that's the trigger number to move you up to the number 1 spot. I really can't tell you that, because there really is no hard and fast number. It's really fluid as the algorithm wants, as other small variables play out, and depending on who your competition is. If you have competition who is really good, then you're going to need more. If you really don't have any competition, like most of you do, then it doesn't take a whole lot. But also realize that the target can move as competition gets better. So if your competition comes out and hires me, all of a sudden you can go from number 1 to number 10 real fast, right? As they hire people, as they learn more, as they attend webinars, as they get a parent who is an SEO expert come in and start helping them out once in a while. Realize that can change. So I always suggest that you look at how well you're doing on ranking both SEO and with Google Places and maps once a month to no later than once a quarter. I love to see minimum quarterly marketing reviews where everyone sits down and does a marketing review to make sure that all the marketing is going the way you want it to be going, and make any changes that need to happen. And generally the quarter is good enough transitions to take place, but not so long that things get out of control. But again, speaking of people hiring me to work for them and to help them out, if you want some help, listen, I love this stuff. I think if you've watched many of my master classes here, you'll see that this is what I love to do, and I would love to help you if we can be a good team and if I can actually help you. And the first step of that is simply to give me a call, set up a free consultation. We'll get on the phone. It's about 45 minutes. We'll go ahead and map out an entire marketing plan for you and see if this is something that we can work together and if it's something that would be helpful to you. And if not, that's great. I understand. But if so, let's go ahead and get that implemented and get you moving up and get your enrollments to be growing. But again, this has been Devin Murray with AttractMoreFamilies.com. Take care and God bless.